We're gonna go ahead and start rolling here, start getting going. Thank you for coming in for our monthly sales meeting. I really appreciate you guys. Come on, Sharon. So my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here. This is our monthly sales meeting we do every month about what's going on. I want to start off talking about mortgages, talking about loans, right? And so why are they so important to us right now? Because it's affecting our entire market right now. That's like right now, mortgages are a really, really big deal. So we kind of have to start talking about what's happening with mortgage rates, where are they headed, what's kind of influencing the mortgage rates. So y'all know what influences mortgage rates? Well, I mean, Powell definitely has something to say, but like our 30-year mortgage rates are heavily influenced by the 10-year treasury. And if you look at 10-year T-bills or 10-year treasuries and you look at the 30-year mortgage rates, they coincide. And so basically what happens is mortgage rates are highly influenced by a lot of things in the market. And so right now, and the other thing that really is influencing interest rates always is going to be inflation. And who's happy about inflation? And no one said yes. All right, listen, inflation is actually looking better. Now, you have to understand that inflation means this year versus last year. Those are the numbers that we're looking at. If you say, oh, remember when prices were 5 years ago, that kind of stuff, that's not your real gauge. And so right now, our inflation rate is running just a little bit higher than 2%. Last month came in at 2.1. So we're kind of glad to see it. It's not below the 2% mark, but it is moving in the positive direction. Will prices ever go back to where they were? No, they're not going to. So like we have to understand that that's kind of where they are. But we are seeing inflation numbers moving in a positive direction. That bodes well for mortgages moving forward. Also, jobs aren't doing great. And that sounds like that would be bad for mortgages. It's actually good for mortgages. And this is because we live in this topsy-turvy world. Okay. Mainly, like one of the numbers that the Fed pays very close attention to is employment. And so when we have very, very low unemployment and we have a lot of jobs out there, that means that it's an inflationary kind of time. It means that wages are going to be increasing more than they feel like they should. And so that means that they want to try and slow the economy down, which is one thing that they've done. The impact from the tariffs are kind of starting to wear down a little bit. People are starting to get used to it. And when I say people, like countries and big business and that kind of stuff. And then the markets, like I don't want to be political, but the markets are starting to get used to like our current administration really thrives on dysfunction and disruption. And so like the markets are starting to kind of get that that's kind of how it's going to be. I'm not trying to bash or pro or con. I'm just saying it is what it is. Like I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. You can see that what's going on out there is like there's just a lot of turmoil in our markets. And so all those things together kind of puts us in a place where we're looking where interest rates are looking softer, are going to look at softer, but no one is like super excited about it. I mean, what are you seeing, Sharon, in the
they're trickling down. The 10-year bond yesterday went down an 8. So it's sort of getting there. It's just not there yet. I don't see it ever going back to 4, and I don't know if you'll ever see 5 again.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. But like where we're at right now, we're somewhere in that 6.6 to 6.8 range right now, 6.6 to 6.8. And I don't know anyone who's like, yay, 6.6 to 6.8. However, is this where we are now? And that's the bottom line, right? We have to understand that this is where it is. And so if you're going to buy a home, are these going to be the rates? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes. And so and historically, I know that when you think back and you think on where the rates were lower in the past, you think these seem ridiculous. Look, our rates are actually in a very normal place if you look at where our rates are historically. Everyone wants to see those rates going. Now, the projections for like Mortgage Bankers Association, the home builders, Zillow, everybody in there is that we're going to be moving towards a little bit softer rates closer to 6.5 and 6 as we move throughout the year. Do you agree with that, Sharon?
do.
Yeah, I think that that's where we're heading right now. And so, is that good or bad? Well, what I'm saying here is like, this is where we are. And so like if you hope in one hand and or wish in one hand and do something else in the other, like which one's going to fill up first, right? This is the reality of where we are. And so we want to be really clear about what's happening in our marketplace. So here's where interest rates are. And this is probably we're going to start seeing softening, but don't expect it to move heavily, right? So do you think that consumers, our buyers, should our buyers wait?
You think, well,
Huh?
you think that.
Well, but a lot of people are thinking that you know, are you gonna wait? Y'all remember? I mean, like, you probably don't remember. I'm really dating myself. You know, the last time that rates were in the 7s, how long it took until the rates reached the 5s? Anybody guess? 17 years. So do you want, are we helping people by having them wait 17 years for the rates to drop down? Like, where does wealth in the United States come from? It comes from owners, people who own homes. You know, that's the greatest source of wealth in the United States. And so the idea that I'll just wait for rates to drop means that you're not going to participate in the greatest wealth building opportunity that you have as an American. That's where wealth in our country comes from, is from home ownership. And so we want to make sure that while I'm not trying to talk into anybody into anything, what's the interest rate on on a rental? 100%, right? It's all, I mean, you're not getting nothing back. But you know, real estate over time, real estate appreciates on average 4.4% a year. So if you own your home 10 years, how much has it appreciated? 44%. Plus, after 10 years, you paid off a chunk of your mortgage, right? You're building wealth. That's the big deal. And so that's one thing I really want when folks talk to me about interest rates, I get that they are a big deal. I get that they are influencing our market. But at the end of the day, are you going to let that stop you from realizing the American dream? Are you going to let that stop you from doing the right choice, making the right choices for your family? Y'all with me? So I don't want to wait, right? I don't see any reason to wait. The only thing I would probably wait on right now would you lock rates, Sharon?
No,
No, I wouldn't lock rates. You know, because your buyers can lock rates, and we see it moving in the right direction. I wouldn't lock them right now by any means. I would keep it open that way. If as rates continue to soften, your buyers can take advantage of that.
right, because once it's locked, you can't do anything about it. So if they locked today at 6.8, it goes to 6.3, like there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. We're also seeing a lot of people still buying down rates.
Yep.
Yep. Will rates ever go back to 3? I mean, how many of y'all heard this? Like, when are rates going to go back to 3%? I want to wait till rates are going back to 3%. How about those 3% rates? Like, are they going back to 3%? No, absolutely, positively not. All right. And we have to understand that when those rates went down during 2021, 22, or 2020, 21 in there, it was because, I mean, y'all remember anything happening about that time? Right? I mean, COVID hit, everyone was scared. The government was trying to stimulate the economy, trying to stimulate housing. And so in addition to having the federal funds rate at 0, they were buying mortgage-backed securities. And basically they were buying mortgages. Whereas normally the market buys mortgages, the government was buying mortgages, and lots of them. And that's what drove those rates down into the 3s. Now we have an environment where they're not trying to stimulate the economy. If anything, they're trying to slow it down a little bit. They're not trying to stimulate home growth. They're not buying mortgage-backed securities. Matter of fact, they're selling mortgage-backed securities off that they bought during those times. So this is another one that I hear a lot. You still hear it, you know, like, hey, how about those 3% rates? Can I wait for those 3% rates? Please don't don't let someone think that this is where it's going. It's not realistic.
Mm-mm.
Like this was an artificial time in our history. If you got lucky and got a really great rate during that time, then good for you. That is not normal. That is not where we're going. We need to be real honest about that. Because I just don't want to paint this picture of, oh, if you just wait long enough, they're going to drop. They're not. They're not going to drop to 3%. They're not going to drop to 4%. I'm not sure we'll see 5 for a couple of years. Right?
Well, the market had to adjust to what's going on today versus what went on in 21. So the market had to readjust the interest rates from being at 3 back up to really what's normal is probably 6.25, 6.5. That's
Yeah.
a fairly normal rate. I mean, if you go back 20 years in 90, you would see that in 92, they were 6.25. And then they just dropped when all this happened with COVID and everything, they dropped back down with because they were prime was they were zero. They
Yeah.
were not charging anything on prime. So now they have to. So that's why it had to adjust up. So that's why it's painful, but I think we're gonna see it come down. But I think the 6s, I'm gonna be excited. At least it didn't 7.5.
I mean, we're that way, fall of last year, we were in the mid 7s.
Yeah.
So like it's not all bad news, but right now for me, it's about us making sure that we're being realistic about what we're seeing happen in the market. And I see no reason for it to drop any greater than this right now. There's just too much stuff going on. And the idea of waiting till 3s, you will never buy a home. And I mean, I don't think that we'll see 3% rate in my lifetime again. I don't, unless something crazy happens. And granted, there's always crazy, right? We get that, but like, that's nothing you build a plan for. That's nothing that you try and prepare for, right?
Mhm.
Crazy is just crazy, and we deal with it when it comes. So we're not looking at that happen. And so please be realistic with your clients. Be realistic with yourself and with expectations. We just don't see this kind of thing going on.
No.
Yep. Now you have something that you want to tell us about, right?
How many of y'all have had your buyers say, my lender pulled my credit and hard pull, not soft, but a hard pull, and said they had 5,000 phone calls from lenders, not 5,000, but probably 100. And texting them, calling them, and there's an opt-out pre-screen option. And that's what we have to do. And this is what this is. And it's legal, which I don't understand how it's legal, but they're actually selling their information.
Well, see, that's the thing. It is part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which you would figure would be looking out for consumers, actually says that if somebody pulls your credit, does a hard pull on your credit, and you don't opt out of it, they tell every other lender in the world that you were out there pulling credit for a mortgage app. And then they get 10s, 20s, 50s, hundreds of other applications.
And if you
Just get blowing them up.
if you got a buyer that's a new buyer, this new first time home buyer, and they don't know any better, they don't understand the system. So if somebody says, well, I can give you okay, Sharon gave you a 6.25, I can give you 5.25. How much is that gonna cost them?
Yeah.
It ain't free.
Well, there's always bait and switch going on,
Exactly.
but like,
That's what they're doing.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, which they're not supposed to be able to do this, but at the end of the day, instead of saying that you're gonna owe 12,000 at closing, you're gonna owe another 5,000 at closing. And because of points. And they didn't disclose that, which I don't know how they get away with it, but they do.
well, see, the thing is that when someone does a mortgage application, a lot of your really good, smart companies, aka Sharon, do what's called a soft pull, right?
Right.
And a soft pull, it doesn't impact their credit score. It doesn't impact their credit. It's just kind of like they're just kind of winking at it. They're just gonna have a little peek at the credit report. It's not official. Now, once they actually make that application, all your lenders will do a hard pull at some point. That's the big kicker here, right?
You have to do a hard pull to run
Yep.
desktop underwriter. And if it's an iffy loan, I have to run it in the very beginning because I have to be able to run it through automated underwriting.
Yep.
Because if I can't get into pre-eligible, then we got problems.
So what Sharon does and what, like smart people like Sharon, when they do the hard pull, when they talk to your clients, they're going to say, do you want to opt out pre-screen, right?
Yep.
She's going to ask them to. It will opt them out for 5 years. That means 5 years, they're not going to get hammered, hounded, that kind of stuff. We're just trying to make sure that they aren't getting harassed simply because they did a mortgage application.
That's correct.
All right.
Yep.
So, it does take like 3 business days to actually go into effect.
Yep.
So,
And you still may get a few, but you won't get 100.
y'all with us?
Yes.
Give me your thoughts.
That's it.
All right. So consider that, like if you're not using Sharon, first of all, I think you should, but if you don't, make sure your lender is doing this. Do not stick your clients in a position where you're hammering them with a bunch of fluff. All right. Thank you, Sharon.
Mhm.
All right, let's talk about what's happening in our marketplace because we have some shifts going on. We have some things happening in our market that's affecting us and our values. First thing is we're having, we're waiting later in life for a lot of things. So our first time median age, our first time home buyers is getting older and older and older. Used to be in the 20s, 28, 26. Now it's 38. We're also getting married later in life. We're having kids later in life. Does this impact housing? Y'all awake or what? Yes, it impacts housing, right? And so we have to be ready for that. But now what we're seeing is a couple of odd shifts. We're seeing where the first time home, because folks are waiting till so much later in life to buy their first house. We're having millennials and we're having folks whose first home is not a starter home anymore. Or a first home would be considered a move-up home. We're seeing where folks' original home first home they buy a bedroom monster, right? So we are seeing some shifts. And so what you consider to be a first-time buyer starter home may not be a first-time starter home anymore. We're seeing where 70% of sellers and 70% of buyers have no children. These are legit facts. Yeah. Now, what we do have, pets. 70% of houses have dogs and cats, but not children. So just kind of keep that in mind with what's going on right now. I just wanted to share those stats with you here. Now, inventory levels are affecting us in a very large way right now. Inventory levels are a huge impact in our market right now. You can see, like, this is all our year since COVID down here on the bottom. And this is what's inventory is happening overall nationwide. And so we're moving back up into a range of being closer to normal. Now, in Georgia MLS, we have 32% more listings. In FMLS, we have 41% more listings. Is that good or bad? Well, I mean, y'all remember, for those of you that were in the business, summer 21, 22, we were begging for listings. We needed properties. We don't have enough properties. What do we have suddenly? A lot more properties. This is a good problem to have, right? Overall, I'm sorry, that was total listings. New listings are 14% in Georgia MLS. I'm sorry, I couldn't read. 8.6 in FMLS. Where I really want you to see here is that right now, inventory in Georgia, and so this is total inventory in Georgia, this year versus last year is up 40%. So we have 40% more listings, 40% more opportunities for buyers. As a seller, are you going to be real excited about this though?
Do you think they can still sell it for like?
Well, but like all of our sellers, what kind of market do our sellers believe that we're in? All our sellers say that we're in a seller's market. Look, we have 40% more inventory this year than we had last year. And so the reality of it is, though, if you look at where our inventory is now compared to where we were pre-COVID, we're still down 12%. We still haven't reached that level where we were during pre-COVID. Right? So is it getting better? Yes, absolutely. Are we there yet? No. We're going to keep seeing more inventory come on, right? So this is what's happening. We are going back into a more normal place when it comes to inventory. That's going to be, this is our big shift right now. This is why people are losing their minds at the moment, right? Because they're trying to understand what's going on. So for our buyers, do they know how much buying power they have at the moment? And for our sellers, do they know how much selling power they have at the moment? There's a shift there going on. There's a power struggle that's happening right this minute in our marketplace. Right now, days on market, look at our days on market this year versus last year. Up significantly, right? So it's 61 days in Georgia MLS, it's 40 days in FMLS. As far as absorption, how many months of standing inventory do we have on hand? We have 4.8 months of standing inventory in FMLS. We have 5 months of standing inventory in Georgia MLS. Where have we been for the last couple of years? 2.5 months, 3 months of standing inventory. Now we're sitting closer to 5 months of standing inventory. Right? This is a big shift. It's a shift for both buyers and sellers. That's what I really want to come through. This is not just impacting sellers. This is also an opportunity for buyers too, about what's going on. And by the way, after your seller sells, what are they? A buyer, right? So like it all goes full circle. Now, what we are seeing is price reductions. Price reductions are heavy. Right now, 19% of our listings have price reductions. We're going to see even more of that coming on. That was in April. We had the highest number of price reductions since I've been in the business. I mean, other than like what happened with the market correction in 2006, 2007, that wasn't normal. But for a normal market, this is a lot of price reductions. We're seeing where sellers are getting reality checked, I guess would be the right word to go for it. Because we still have a lot of sellers like, let's try this price. What's that happening to them now? They're sitting on the market, right. They're sitting there. Right now, we have 500,000 more sellers than we have buyers. That's a big number, folks. That is a very realistic number that we need to be able to share with our sellers. Also for our buyers. So like what are we seeing happen with the power dynamic right now? Is it a seller's market or is it a buyer's market? Right now, we are closest thing I've seen to balanced in a long time, right? And it's a weird place to be in balance. I know it sounds weird, but balance, nobody understands because can you find some really good deals out there? Yeah. Can you also find some folks that aren't going to budge a bit? Yeah. All right. And it is going to be heavily influenced. Now, one place where you're going to see, like if you're looking for some opportunities right now, 83% more condo sellers than condo buyers right now. So if you're looking for a deal, where do you think I suggest you look? Condos are a good deal right now. We're seeing the best deals to be had in condos at this current moment right now. So the other issue we have is almost half of our listings have been on the market for 2 months. What do you do with a listing that's been on the market for 2 months?
Keep calling the seller and then no offers.
Look, this is a big deal, right? But there's two different talking points that we have to look at about what's happening with the inventory that we have. We have a lot of what's called stale inventory. Properties that have been on the market for greater than 60 days, greater than 2 months out there. So if you have a buyer looking, should they be looking at older properties now? Because it used to be we wouldn't even consider properties that have been on the market for a while, right? How about right now? Yeah. Are these sellers getting price checked a little bit?
Yeah.
Hey, we tried it. Oh well, I guess we got to go back to reality, right? Now, for you as a listing agent, though, there's this old saying in real estate: the early bird gets the worm, but the second realtor sells the house. Okay, you want to lose listings? No, you don't. How do you stop from losing listings? Communicate. You have to start communicating. Talk to your sellers every week. Do not just shove your head in the sand and be like, oh, well, this is real about what's going on. We see a lot of stagnant inventory, older inventory that's impacting us right now. And if you kind of get that kind of fatalist attitude of, oh, well, they're not going to move. They're going to, like, the only thing you can do is up your accountability, up your engagement, up your conversations with your clients right now. Do not be passive, because when you're passive, what's going to happen when that listing comes up to expiration date? They're going to fire you. And then they're going to lower the price to where you told them to, and they're going to list it with another agent, and you're going to be all salty about it, right? So like a couple of things here. One, make sure in your conversations you're being firm, not aggressive, but firm about price, right? Your house is $40,000 higher than any other home listed in this neighborhood. Nobody's going to make an offer on it. And when they don't make an offer on it, you're gonna blame me. If you're not prepared to have that kind of conversation, expect that you're gonna lose that listing. Like, I mean, this is, I mean, I just showed you, we 500,000 more buyers, more sellers than buyers right now. Aging inventory. Do you want to lose your listings? Then grab the bull by the horns and make sure that you are talking about pricing in a very realistic way. And again, I'm not trying to say go be pushy. I don't want to be pushy with my sellers ever. But I hate that feeling of I wasn't firm enough. They didn't listen to me. They didn't go with my recommended price. It didn't sell, and now they fired me. And I spent all this time and energy and marketing and yada yada yada. Right? That's what I don't want to see happen to us. Like that's my worry right now. Right now, there's $331 billion in stale inventory across the US. That's with a big. So is this a problem that we're having across the board? Yes, it is. Right? And the ones who are going to win here, they're the ones who are going to help their sellers understand this is the price that a buyer's willing to pay for your home. Doesn't matter if you have in-floor heating. It doesn't matter what tax record says. It doesn't matter what kind of repairs you did. It doesn't matter all these other kind of things that our sellers want to talk about. What matters? What the buyers are willing to pay and what we can get appraised for, right? You can wish all day, but it ain't gonna do us any good out there. Right? Now, the other thing that happens anytime that we see a shift like we're seeing right now. Right now, we're seeing a real shift where we have a lot more sellers than we have buyers. The price change doesn't happen right away. It happens over 3 to 6 months. So what I'm saying is like right now, we aren't seeing price impacts in our current market nearly as much. What are we going to see in the next 3 to 6 months? We're going to see prices softening, right? Because when I show you the number right now, so like this is in Georgia MLS. Overall, our median sales price is up 0.4%. In FMLS, it's down 1.2. I don't think we're heading into anything close to or even akin to a crash. We are still into the summer buying season, but understand that my feeling is we're looking at softer prices moving forward throughout the rest of the year. I'm not looking at double-digit price drops, nothing like that, but 1 to 2% a month, I think it's pretty realistic about where we're at right now. Just when you look at the data, when you look at the numbers, residential real estate is based on supply versus demand. How much demand do we have? A lot. How much supply? I'm sorry. We have, we do have a lot of demand still, but what do we have more of? Supply. And when you have more supply, that's going to impact us right there. So right now, our pending sales are down about 10%. That's a kind of a future indicator about what we're seeing overall happening in transactions. And so with where the interest rates have been and all these kind of things happening, that's kind of what we're going on. Overall, closed sales is down 4.5% in Georgia MLS, 8% in FMLS. Can we get ahead of this though? I shared this data with you. Is it going to do any good if it stays in this room? No. So for for our sellers, what does our message need to be right now? There's a shift in the market. We need to make sure that we're paying very close attention to pricing. Yes, we're going to market your home everywhere, but like at the end of the day, I can't market an overpriced home. I mean, I can, but I can't market an overpriced home effectively to a buyer. So for our buyers, are there going to be some opportunities? Yeah, right. So this is one of those, you can say, well, the market stinks, it's going to hurt us. Or you can say, you know what? My buyer's going to be looking at real good right now. I think we have some better opportunities coming up for buyers right now. I do. But those sellers, when they sell, what will they be? There'll be opportunities for them too, right? Like that's the great part about our sellers. Yes, like we saw a lot of sellers when the property values appreciated, they're all like, I want to sell high and buy low. It doesn't work that way. The markets don't work that way, and you can't really time markets out like that. So, yep, go ahead. What you got?
Okay. Home overpriced does not necessarily mean that the seller's not asking for what it's worth. It's more to do with what's going on in the market. I think it's a.
No, okay, so the question is, a home overpriced, is it overpriced because of the market, or is it overpriced because they threw it out there? Like the whole idea here is that if you go out and you do a comparative market analysis and you look at the properties and these, then, you know, all the other homes in this neighborhood, like this one sold for 375, this one 365, this one sold for 400, but it had a finished basement. This one over here, 358, and they list their home at 399. Is it overpriced compared to all the other homes in the neighborhood? They don't have a finished basement. Yeah, they're overpriced, right? Now they always want to look, well, that house over there sold for 400, but they had a finished basement and you don't, right? Or they have an in-ground pool, or there's a reason why that house sold for more. They always want to compare to that one. And I get that. But like we have to be looking at, like, as a buyer, are you going to overpay? Do you want to overpay for a home? Why would you overpay for a house? You wouldn't. And especially when we have rising inventory, you're just going to go to the house that's a better price down the street, right? That's exactly what it is right now. It's supply versus demand. I want to talk about one place where I see a lot of opportunity right now, because I feel that we are missing out on opportunities. And the place where I want to talk about opportunities is with doing comparative market analysis, CMAs, right? So with a CMA, I am going to ask you guys to do something for me. I want you all, every single person, every single realtor, real estate agent, I want you all to start doing one comparative market analysis a day, one CMA a day, one equity assessment a day, right? This does a couple of different things for us out here, kind of thing. Like, you want to show that you know what's going on in the market, do a CMA a day. You want to be able to proactively find potential sellers ahead of time, send a CMA a day. Like, the other thing is, you want to get really, really competent at values, start figuring out one comparative market analysis a day, right? So this is a chance for us to be proactive. It lets us stay top of mind with our clients, especially anyone that's thinking about selling. It helps us identify potential sellers and be able to engage with them early on in the process. And this will help you create relationships. So now, who should you send a CMA to? Well, everybody is going to be just kind of a general term, but there's almost a limitless number of people that you could send a comparative market analysis to every single day, right? And so, should your past clients get a CMA? Yes or yes? Yep. People in your sphere of influence, your sphere, right? They need to get it. Anybody that's in your top 50, they need to get one. If you hold an open house and that nosy neighbor comes by, what should they get? Yeah, because are they thinking about selling? Right? You know, expired listings. Would they be a great ones to start sending a CMA to? For sale by owners. Could that be a great way to have a conversation with for sale by owners? Absentee owners, VRBO, Airbnb folks. Like, I love sending this to them. We're seeing where a lot of people are getting out of VRBO and Airbnbs. Send them a comparative market analysis. Anybody in a neighborhood where there's been a recent sale, send them a CMA. Homeowners in your farm, anybody that asks about value, start utilizing your see how much your home is worth websites. It's all tied into our databases. It's inside your KV Core and your Bold Trail. You can put that as an email signature on there. You have a ton of opportunities to send out a comparative market analysis every day. Just one a day. And you know, I'm not talking about something that's going to be so tasking on you that it's just going to crush you. This is not. If you just did one a day, right? 5 a week, 20 a month, 60 a year. How many of those folks will tell other buyers, other sellers about you? Will possibly use you when the time is right to sell. Talk about their neighbors, all that kind of stuff. This is an important opportunity for us. I love working with buyers. Honestly, I really do. However, if I try and target buyers, what kind of clients do I get? I get buyers. When I target sellers, what kind of clients do I get? I get buyers and sellers. That's the thing. I get sellers and you get buyers too, because most of these folks are going to buy as well. Plus, if somebody's just ready to buy, I'm okay. So what systems do you use? We have Georgia MLS, we have FMLS. You can use Cloud CMA, free in FMLS, or you could use RPR. I don't care. It doesn't matter the platform, so long as you get competent at it, so long as you understand how to work it. Does that make sense? So we're not talking rocket science here. So go out, you do one, call the folks, right? You do a CMA. Hey, I was just running some numbers on values in your neighborhood, and I put together a quick assessment for you. Would you like me to send that over? And they say, yes. Nobody says no, ever. Like, do they want to know if you own a home? Do you want to know how much your home is worth? 100%, right? So I can also email it. Hey, your home's updated value should be your subject lines. I was just reviewing market data, ran an updated home value report. It's included below. Reach out to me when you get a minute. Will they open that? 100%, right? You can send text. Hey, I was checking values in your area, and you popped into my mind. I pulled one for you. Can I send it over to you? Right? You can even put it on social media. Hey, I've been pulling market reports all day. Would you like to see what yours is? I mean, these are really easy things to help get you out there and doing it. What happens when you start seeing a lot of comparative market analysis? You think that you get really good at values? What's happening in the marketplace? You get where you can start telling me what's happening with values. When you start knowing what's going on, you don't have to look at the numbers up here. You start seeing what's happening in neighborhoods and those kind of things. Like, you become the subject matter expert. This is a very strong and smart place for us to sit in. So make it a habit. The more you do, the faster you get, the easier it is. It's going to take you about 20 minutes a day. If you will treat this as, this is something I have to do every day. This should be on your to-do list every day. This will make a big impact in your business. And then once you send these out, please don't send them and forget them. Right? You think you should send it once, be like, oh, well, they didn't call me back. No, call, follow up, follow up, follow up. You cannot follow up too much, right? Because we want to have those conversations. We want them to say, how's the market? I mean, that's why you're here today. So we can have those kind of conversations, be able to fill in. How's the market? What's going on there kind of thing. So if you need help, I've got 2 lunch and learns coming up where I'm going to do CMAs. I'm going to teach you to do CMAs. So just lunch and learns. So Friday the 20th at the airport office. It's not going to be a CE class. We're just going to go in. And so on that one, I'm going to go in. I'm going to show you how to do CMA in FMLS and Cloud CMA. On Monday the 23rd, we're going to be here, and I'm going to be using Georgia MLS and Cloud CMA. And RPR. So I'm going to show you how to use these different systems. If you don't feel comfortable with it, I'll be glad to help you with it. But like, as far as like, I feel like there's some things that is just a core function of some things that you need to be able to do to be competent in our business. CMAs is a big one. And so whether you call it equity assessment, CMA, value, assessments, those kind of things, the name's not important. What it is that we have to be able to understand what values are doing and clearly articulate those to our clients. We're in a shifting market right now. And for our sellers, the days of us just being able to say, well, this neighborhood runs 350. That's not here right now. We need to know what's happening right this minute with pricing. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
All right.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
What tools are you using at each office? You said RPR.
FMLS and Cloud CMA is going to be on Friday the 20th. And then RPR and Georgia MLS is going to be on the 23rd here in McDonough.
Thank you.
So I'll be doing those personally. And if you guys need help, call. Like you can hit me up. The mentors are really good. You need to hit them up too. But like, understand that we're here to help you on this. I want you to be really competent at that.
You can use any one of the 4 that you're talking about.
You can use any one.
Same result, pretty much the same result.
Well, I mean, the data is the data, right?
Yes.
So the question is one better than the other? The only thing I'm going to say is like, you want to make sure you're paying attention to like where it is, right? And what I mean is, am I probably gonna pull condos in Midtown in Georgia MLS? No, I mean, I want to use FMLS for that one, and you know, by the same token, am I gonna use FMLS to pull something in Butts County? No, so like, just be smart, right? When it comes to that, you know, RPR pulls from both, Cloud CMA, whichever one of those that you want to work, they're just, they make it prettier in my opinion. But they all work basically the same. I'll show you how I do CMAs. I'll be glad to help you with that. But this is something that I feel like you need to be very competent at. So please take this on, start doing these every day. If you'll just do a little bit every day, you know, when I say 20 minutes, seriously, I can do a CMA in 5. So like you should be able to knock this out in 20 minutes, no problem. Is everybody with me? Good. Now, all my associate brokers, all that kind of stuff. July 1st is your deadline. If you have not renewed, if you renew after July 1st, all associate brokers and brokers will have to have 18 hours of broker level education, so continuing education. So starting on July 1st, 18 hours of broker CE, 15 hours of regular CE, and 3 hours of license law. Or just for regular licensees, it's still 36 hours of continuing education. 3 hours has to be license law. I just want to give you guys an opportunity that if you are an associate broker, do not wait to renew, because you can renew up to 120 days in advance. But if you don't have those 18 hours starting July 2nd, you will not get renewed. You'll have to go out and get 18 hours. So there is no grandfathering in. There's no, I'm going to wait around for it. There's none of that kind of stuff going on. Y'all with me? All right. These are the CE classes that we have coming up for the rest of this month. So of course, today's sales meeting, we have contracts, divorces, investors who can sign contracts. We have effective communication coming up. I'll be doing contracts 101 with Ming. We have online productivity platforms, which is a fancy way of saying Bold Trail KV Core training. We have staging coming up, and then we have 1031 exchanges. These are all of some classes we have coming up throughout the rest of the month. Please take advantage of our free CE. We try and set these up so that you can continue to grow your business in places and ways that can help you grow. So please go to MX1 training and sign up. And then congratulations to our top producers. So yeah. So Nancy, you coming up? You and Melissa coming up here? So at this point, we normally do, like I do the big one, we're all together, and then we go local. And so now we're going to go local, and we're going to jump into our local ones there in your office. So thank you guys.